Hey guys, Caleb here, back again with more Red Knot, and this time we have the first book of Fright Time. What is Fright Time? Well, if you like Goosebumps, and you like Fear Street, you might like Fright Time. It's in the same vein as those young adult horror novels. I don't actually know anything about this series other than my mother got them at the dollar store, and she preferred, teenage, young kid horror kind of things to read. She wasn't really into hardcore stuff unless it was like watching a movie or something. The cover is okay. It looks like there's this super creepy dude spooking on a kid, probably he's 12 or something. I don't know, it just seems more like creepy stalker than anything horror based. Also, in case you didn't know, these books have 3 stories in them as opposed to just 1 story. So I'm going to have to change the format a little bit. I don't know if I want to read just a story or maybe the first 3 chapters of each story and then leave it up to you to decide if it might be something you're into or your kids might be into. Who knows? But the stories featured in this in particular are Madman on Main Street, Scary Harry, It's Almost Dark. So let's read the synopsis of each one. Fright Time. 3 complete stories of haunting and horror. Madman on Main Street. There's a new name on Michael's paper route, but an old address. The spookiest, scariest house in town. Suddenly, Michael finds he's dealing with a dangerous fiend. He's not only captured Michael and his best friends, but the whole town is on the brink of falling into the madman's fatal hands. Scary Harry. There are strange noises coming from his older brother's room, and he's acting even stranger. Jess thinks. But does growing long hairy arms and legs mean Harry's turning into some kind of ape? Yes! Thanks for spoiling that, I guess. And now Jess got to go track down the scientist who made it happen. Before it's too late. It's almost dark. Spence's family are not your usual neighbors. Miss K tells fortunes and Mr. K writes scary stories. But that's okay with his best friend Ben until the scary creatures start coming to life. Goosebumps movie before it was a movie? Attacking, capturing Spence, Ben, and the baby they're watching. Mixed with Labyrinth? Can this be for real? Look for more Fright Time stories of heart-pounding, spine-tingling terror and suspense. Or lots of bullshit, one of the two. Madman on Main Street by Elaine A. Kuehl. Chapter 1. I, Michael Dane, age 12, am not the world's best student. I'm not even Centerville Junior High's best student. Far from it. Okay, I don't try all that hard. What I have, according to my teachers, is potential. But if I hear you don't make the slightest effort to reach your maximum potential one more time, I made up words to go with that sentence just so you know, I'm gonna scream. Which is what my parents did when they saw my last report card. You're probably thinking I should just do the work so everyone will quit nagging me. Well, that would be helpful, or you could just, not give a shit. 'Cause I didn't really do anything in school. But here's the way I see it. Books will always be around. So will math, science, and history. On the other hand, playing JV basketball or watching a really great game on TV, well, this stuff won't keep. When was this book made? When did this come out? Really? You're not going to tell me what year it came out in? Monkey butts. I'll look it up later. Depending on how old it is, it probably will keep. It's just your interest in it will change over time because, being a kid and all. Adults' priorities and interests are not the same as a child's, even if it's the the same person. Last Friday, though, Coach Nelson said that my grades have to improve or I'll get thrown off the team. I'm guessing you play basketball or some shit? Who the fuck knows? And I wouldn't be surprised if my folks made me give up TV for the next 30 years. Which they can't do because, let's see, you're 12. You have 6 years left. 6. Before you're an adult who can do whatever the fuck you want. So if you want to watch TV, you can watch TV. It won't be 30 years. I know it's a cliche exaggeration. Shut up. One thing I'll never give up is my paper route. 'Cause I like making money. It's my only source of income. Fair enough. Dad's always saying there's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. You want something, you have to earn it. Well, I make that need, baseball cards. A small amount of junk food. My mother won't buy it. She super crazy health nut. My mom never bought a lot of junk food, but she liked eating sweets. I don't know, it was never a problem in my house. We just asked, and Mom either said yes or no. And then she'd go buy it if she said we could have it. And other essentials too numerous to mention. What essentials do you need as a middle school student? Do your parents make you buy your clothes and your pencils and your shoes and your backpack and all that shit? Are you the one who pays for school trips that you want to go on that require a payment? Because right now it just sounds like you're talking about superficial shit that you don't actually need. So I'm up before dawn every day, making sure the good citizens of Centerville, those on my route that is, have the news to digest with their breakfast. Yesterday morning I noticed another customer on my distribution list. Amber Hilks. I'd never heard that name before, but the address, 200 Main Street, sounded familiar. Could it be the spooky old place that's been deserted ever since I can remember? Nah, who'd want to live there? Just 'cause you find it spooky doesn't mean somebody else does. Hell, if I could go through a house that was spooky when I was little, that would have been amazing. I would have been all over that. I hopped on my bike and began my rounds. But as I neared the last stop, my heart sank a bit. There it was, the old sorry-looking house. Whatever paint there was had chipped and faded. The front yard had weeds a foot high. This place, sitting at the end of Main Street, was the one kids used to think was haunted, me included. It got so bad that Billy Smith's father once took a bunch of us inside to explore the place, just to prove we were wrong. Nothing happened. But even so, I walked home unconvinced. I mean, no ghost or goblin would pull a stunt in broad daylight, not with Mr. Smith around. I don't know, considering the paranormal, but maybe that's just me. The man is almost 7 feet tall, so he's like 6'8" or something. He's a great guy and everything, but you don't mess with Billy's dad, even if you're an evil spirit. Okay, truth be told, if something is malicious enough, it's going to fight you and kick your ass. I'm not saying I believe in haunted houses. Still, I got to 200 Main. I had a rolled newspaper in my hand, ready to throw on the rickety front porch, but I stopped mid-toss. Sitting in a weather-beaten rocking chair was a gray-haired man with a longish beard. No introductions were necessary. This had to be Abner Hilks. "Good morning, Michael," he said. I froze. It wasn't so much that he knew my name. The newspaper subscription department could have told him. I don't know why they would, because I certainly don't know any of the newspaper guys on my delivery route, if I had a delivery route. But that is kind of creepy. What got me was his voice. It was the creepiest thing I'd ever heard, so scary it gave me chills. Trust me, I've seen tons of horror movies, but just the sound of the sky beat them all. Besides, seeing a movie is one thing. Being so close to the real thing is another. I decided that I'd better shove off, but Amber's next comment had me glued to the spot. Having trouble in school, eh? A shame. Knowledge is power. Don't you forget it. I was too stunned to talk. How could he possibly know about my low grades? Just when I calmed down enough to ask him, Amber got up from a chair, opened the front door, and went inside. He was holding a rolled newspaper. I suddenly realized that I had never given him one. I pedaled to school as fast as I could. For the first time in a long time, I was glad to get there. But the rest of the day grew even stranger. For starters, math was a disaster. Miss Reynolds made a sarcastic comment after I told her that I'd forgotten my homework. Again. Some of the kids laughed. I really hate that. First of all, I don't think teachers should embarrass a kid in front of everyone. Really, they shouldn't. Unless they're being assholes, then by all means, go ahead. And if that sort of thing does happen, I think the class should stick together. In other words, don't make the kid feel worse. Child, reality is an asshole. People in and of themselves are assholes. Other people's misery is great entertainment for everyone else. Some people don't mean to be that way. But have you ever wondered why somebody laughs when another person falls down, even though you're concerned and you're asking if they're okay? It's the douche hole in you that thinks this shit's funny. Everybody has one. To tell you the truth, I've never laughed when, say, Coach Nelson yells in a clear shot, during practice no less. I'm gonna call bullshit on that. I mean, you might have the rare case of sympathy, where maybe on the occasion you wouldn't, but that's something that people do. Everyone does. So I don't believe you. Then, in history, Mr. Benton gave a pop quiz. It was on the chapter he asked us to read last night. Trouble is, I left the textbook in my locker. Either you're lying or you're just really fucking forgetful, and I forget a lot of shit that's important. But I don't think I'm that forgetful. I guess I didn't feel like lugging the thing home just to read a few pages. I also figured I should wait until I was more in the mood. If it was your homework assignment, you can't wait until you're in the mood. You gotta do your homework. Or just be a lazy fuck and not give a shit, I guess. Obviously, I thought wrong. And wouldn't you know, the quiz was the essay type. Oh, that's fun. Good luck with that, you idiot. No assist with some lucky multiple choice guesswork. Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't just put no. There's a better way to word that statement, I think. No chance to be lucky with multiple choice guesswork would simply be better. I really sweated the first question. It's hard to pretend you know stuff when you really don't. And besides, trying to fool Mr. Benton is ridiculous. When it comes to history, the man is a walking encyclopedia. The second question was really tough. I'm not going to tell you what these questions are. I'm just going to be like, the first question, I didn't know shit about. The second question, I didn't know shit about. I mean, you don't really have to go through the methodology of doing this, especially if you're not going to tell us what the question was, because you've already established, I didn't read the material, it's essay type, fuck, I'm just going to turn it in blank and tell the truth, because I'm failing this. While imagining how I could try to sound halfway intelligent, my eyes wandered toward the hallway. I saw a shadowy figure lurking in a dark corner. I felt my heart sink when I realized it was Abner Hilks. He just stood there, staring at me with a weird grin. What was he doing here? I shuddered. The guy gave me the creeps, that's for sure. Maybe it was all the stress in one day, but I actually thought the classroom walls were closing in on me. I had to leave, to breathe fresh air, but Abner was out there. Who was he waiting for? I'll be honest, I was more afraid of him than some old test score. Since I couldn't think any more anyway, I handed in an almost blank paper. I walked back to my desk, folded my arms, and rested my aching head on them. Minutes later, I thought I was hearing things when Mr. Benton praised me for a perfect grade. I was so flabbergasted I nearly fell off my chair. Then, for some reason, I glanced at the corridor again. It was deserted. I felt relieved, until I heard the echo of a weird chuckle. Abner, no doubt. I couldn't help thinking that he'd had something to do with changing the exam I gave my teacher. But how? And why? Fortunately, the bell rang and my thoughts were interrupted by visions of, "Good going, Michael." Oh, by versions, not visions. I also got a few nods and smiles from kids who never looked at me before, namely Tracy Scott, the most popular girl in her grade. Because what matters is I get some ass. I have to admit, it all felt pretty good, better than being laughed at anyway. At least I managed to get my mind off Abner Hicks, but not for long. I don't really have a best friend, not since Larry Andrews moved away last year. Between my job, school, and JV, I'm busy enough, and I get along really well with the guys on the team. But no one's like Larry. He's the brother I never had, a true bud. We take turns phoning one another, just as we promised, but it's not the same. I mean, the guy had lived next door. The people who moved into Larry's house are okay, although I'm not that crazy about Kara. She's this 11-year-old and a bit of a know-it-all. So Hermione Granger? I'm sure you know the type. They're everywhere. Go fuck yourself. I don't know why there's so much animosity I have with that sentence. Just go screw off. Very annoying. Anyway, just when I rode up my driveway, Kara popped out of her door, as if she were waiting for me. "Can I ask you a question?" "You just did." I quickly stored my mic in the garage, hoping for a fast getaway, 'cause I'm an asshole. If there was one thing I had my fill of, it was answering questions, and Kara picked the wrong time to say anything beyond our usual hi. "Come on." "Oh, go ahead, but make it fast." My favorite TV show would be on any minute. Not any minute, I mean there's a certain time programs come on. Well, whatever. I wasn't about to tell her that. Well, a few kids said there was a haunted house around here. I thought they were teasing, but they looked serious. "Do you really think there's such a thing as a haunted house?" I was practically barking at the kid, but her timing was awful. Floating in my head were snapshots of Abner on the porch in the hallway. I had to get rid of them, and Kara. "What's the matter with you? You look like you've seen a ghost." "No, I don't think I would think that. It'd be like, what's wrong with you? You're a fucking asshole, dickwad, and I hope you get punched in the face." That did it. How? How did it do it? What? Anything? Also, I know it's a kid's book, so there's not really going to be like great paragraph breaking or sentences or anything like that, but that did it. New paragraph. "I'm tired. I'm starving. Stop worrying about all this crazy stuff and go do your homework or something." How hard is it to put nice space there to emphasize that he's annoyed? Just then, Mom poked her head out the door. "Come inside, you two. I just made some cocoa." Kara smiled at me as if to apologize. "I'm staying at your house this afternoon. My mother had to take Beth to the doctor." Beth is Kara's 4-year-old sister. I was mad. For no reason. But this was one of those times when you just can't show it. Which, if you ask me, is very difficult. 'Cause you're an asshole? But of all days to be stuck with Kara. She really hasn't done anything to be annoying or offensive. You've just been a dickhole to her this entire time. I really needed to zone out for a while and watch TV. Now, for Mom's sake, I have to be polite to someone who is really getting on my nerves. She's getting on your nerves because you're the one being an asshole. If you don't want to fool with her, just be like, "Hey, Kara, I don't really want to talk to you right now. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I just kind of want to relax and be left alone." The cocoa was too hot to gulp. I thought about bringing it to my room, but I knew Mom would never allow that sort of thing. I could hear her saying that she won't tolerate rudeness to a guest, and I can hear myself implying that I didn't invite her. Good thing this conversation is imaginary. Yeah, because I think your mom would tip you over and pop you on the ass. But also, again, if this person really isn't your friend, your mom can't make you hang out with them. When my cousins came over, it wasn't mandatory or required that I hang out with them, so if I wanted, I could just stay in my room with the door shut. So I sat there, listening to Kara drone about her latest round of A's and excellence. You got E's? Is there such a thing as an E, which is better than an A? 'Cause we only had A, B, C, D's, and F's. That was it. I'll admit, she works very hard. In fact, I'll bet all she does is study. Probably not, 'cause, again, I got decent grades, not because I studied, but because I worked hard. There's a difference between study and working hard. Anyway, just when I thought the kid was running out of steam, I noticed her staring the history paper I'd stuffed into my notebook. Here I am talking about myself, and you got an A+. Mom, rinsing a pot at the sink, turned around. Michael, that's wonderful. Why didn't you say anything? 'Cause I didn't do anything, I thought. How could I ever explain what happened? Even if I had read the assigned chapter, would I have done so well? Not a chance. Now she expected more of the same, which I could never deliver. I was furious at Kara for being such a blabbermouth, and I wanted to kick myself for not doing a better job of hiding the stupid paper. I wasn't ready to destroy it yet. First I wanted to read the test answers, behind the closed doors. Mom was standing over me, beaming. Her hand extended a bit for the paper. As I pulled the page from my notebook, I saw something scribbled in an unfamiliar, strange, actually, handwriting. I didn't have time to read it, with Mom waiting, but right after commenting on the grade, her eyes zeroed in. Knowledge is power, A.H. I agree. Who's A.H.? I mumbled that he was someone new in school. Not entirely untrue. Kara, Miss Nosy, because you're an asshole, was peering at the message. What kind of handwriting is that? It looks like something from the Middle Ages. It's a joke. Can't you tell it's a joke? I got the paper back from Mom, raced upstairs to my room, and closed the door. Overreaction much? I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror above the bureau. Kara was right. I did look scared. Probably because I was. I sat on my bed, relieved to be alone in my room. I glanced around, thinking that although the room was the same since I'd left, I felt different. I had the most bizarre day ever of experiencing things that I didn't understand and couldn't control. That is an awkwardly phrased sentence. You should rewrite that. And there was no one to help me. A knock on my door made me jump. I was Mom. Somebody really needed to edit this shit before it got published. Are you okay, Michael? Sure, Mom. I'm really just tired. Think I'll lie down for a while. All right. Let me know if you need anything. I'm not going to mention that you're acting really weird and that maybe I'm concerned. A little more than, yeah, I'll just let you rest. Whatever. I don't give a shit. Thanks. It's amazing what a top-notch grade will buy. Mom doesn't usually let me get off that easily. How do you know it's because of the grade? It was true, though. I was exhausted. I must have fallen asleep within minutes. When I awoke, it was dark. I looked at the clock on my night table. 3 a.m.? I wondered if I could enter myself in the Guinness Book of Records. For what? Lots of people wake up at 3 in the morning and then go back to sleep or stay awake. Not that big of a deal. I was starving. Well, you technically didn't eat dinner or anything, you just had some chocolate. After freshening up quietly, so as not to wake anyone, okay, that's one of those obvious things that maybe you don't need to tell me. Like, I don't think I need these so as not to wake anyone kind of thing. I don't know. I fixed myself a huge bowl of milk and cereal. Then, instead of hanging around, I decided to get dressed and begin my routine a little earlier than usual. It wasn't because I'd grown so ambitious. I just figured that maybe I'd avoid seeing Abner. I was the first kid at the distribution center that morning, and even though it was out of my way, I made a beeline for 200 Main Street. No sight of Abner. I quickly aimed the newspaper in the general direction of his porch, without bothering to check where it landed. I let out a deep breath and smiled at my cleverness. Today was going to be a good day. I just knew it. I jammed on my brakes when I realized one important thing. I'd fallen asleep last night before doing my homework. Panic set in. There was that short essay to complete for English, 10 math problems, and an outline for the project I was doing for the science fair, which I hadn't even thought about yet. And I couldn't dash anything off now, not with a load of papers I still had to deliver. You just said you woke up at 3 in the morning, ate, and then you went to go pick up your papers. Now, granted, I don't know when paper boys go and get their shit done, but if you get your paper route done early enough, you probably have enough time to go ahead, ride to school, sit in the cafeteria or some shit, and do your homework. I mean, you could also be doing homework during, lectures. So, say you have math first thing in the morning, well, take that extra time to do the math problems. And then worry about that outline at the end of the day whenever you have science or whatever the crap. You're making this bigger than it needs to be, unless your school's really fucking far away. In which case, why are you biking there and not having your mom drive you there or bus there? Miss Franklin, my English teacher, isn't big on formalities. She just has kids drop off their work in a basket that sits on her desk. I felt like a jerk this morning, acting busy while everyone else had something to hand in. Finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. I had to confess that I approached Miss Franklin and told her I'd been too ill to write the essay. Another half-truth. I don't understand, she said, looking at the pile. Your work is right on top. I couldn't believe it. There, in my own handwriting, was a fine-looking composition. I could feel my face turning bright red, especially since Miss Franklin was eyeing me with a puzzled expression. Michael, is there something wrong? Something you'd like to tell me? I walked backward to my desk, hoping some distance would save me. No, I'm fine, really. Guess I forgot that I didn't forget. To do the assignment, before I got sick. Okay, that sounds totally convincing. Maybe I should call your mom. And your mom be like, yeah, he's acting weird last night. I'm not really sure what the problem is. Luckily, no one seemed to be hearing any of my babbling. Still, I felt stupid and confused, too dazed to figure any of it out. And it didn't end there. My math homework had been completed. So was the science project outline. As I rode home on my bicycle after JV practice, I started wondering if maybe some guardian angel was helping me. And why not? When you stop to think about it, I am a pretty decent kid. Michael, I thought, get a grip. I'm gonna be honest here. You're not a pretty decent kid if A, you yelled in your head about how annoying your neighbor was and was basically a dick to her. You're not a decent kid if you're just a layabout who doesn't bother doing their homework. Also, if you're this bad at doing your homework, I'm surprised your mother hasn't sat your ass down to get this shit done. Because my mother would sit my ass down and we'd get this shit done. At this hour, I usually take the shortcut, even though it means riding along a deserted path. My parents don't know, but then again, it has never come up. I always crank up the pace, because as soon as the sun goes down, the place gets a little spooky. Okay, we need some better transitions here. So what I think is happening is school is over and we're going home and taking a shortcut. But we need to kind of establish that other than just yeah, I'm taking a shortcut. My parents don't know about it. And if they did, they'd probably get really pissed off. But it hasn't come up, so I'm not going to worry about it. So it's cool. I saw some sort of rag caught in the front wheel. I braked and stooped over to remove the thing. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something move from behind a tree. My heart pounded wildly when I saw who it was. Sorry I missed seeing you this morning. The homework assignments require sufficient time, even for me. In any case, I hope they'll be received well by your teachers. Okay, A, how did you know he had homework? Well, I guess he was there at school. B, are you using magic or some shit? How are you turning this in on my behalf? And how are you mimicking his own handwriting? As far as I know, he hasn't written anything. Except for maybe the essay from yesterday? I don't know. There's no point denying. Oh, There was more to that sentence than I thought there was. There's no point denying I was frightened, but I couldn't let Abner see that. Putting on the stern face I've seen 1,000,000 times on my father and Coach Nelson, I looked the old man in the eye. Who are you and what do you want? Why are you doing my work? Of all the kids in Centerville, why me? The man chuckled, the same awful sound I'd heard in the corridor. It gave me the shivers. I suppose we haven't been formally introduced, but as you are probably aware, I'm Abner Hiltz. That answers your first question. As to what I want, you'll be told in good time, boy. All in good time. He vanished. So did my false bravery. Holy shit, a guy just immediately left my vision. Like, what the hell was up with that? I was shaking so hard I could barely climb on my bike. As I pedaled home, Abner's crazy laughter kept me... Ah, my God, I can't read the sentence. He vanished. So did my false bravery. I was shaking so hard I could barely climb on my bike. As I pedaled home... Wait, when did you ever get off your bike? I'm assuming basically you just straddled your bike or had one foot lean... I don't know. You need to actually explain things. As I pedaled home, Abner's crazed laugh kept playing in my head over and over again. Chapter 3. I was panting so hard by the time I got home that it brought Kara to her bedroom window. I thought you said you guys were neighbors. Do you actually have to go through her bedroom or some shit when you go by her house to get into yours? If so, then you might as well, live in the same house and sleep in the same room. That doesn't make any sense. How would she know this unless she's already at her window and then saw you come home? Keep it down, will you? I'm trying to study. Gee, Michael, you sound like an old man. You would too, I thought, if you'd just beaten the all-time record for bike racing after seeing a weirdo. Fair enough. Playing like that made me think of Larry again. I needed to talk to him, especially about all that was happening. Our parents said we could phone each other whenever we wanted, within reason, of course. There wasn't a better reason than now. He answered on the first ring. I felt instantly better after hearing his hello. Larry, hi, it's me. Mikey, how you doing? Okay, I guess. You? So, school's drag, just like in Centerville. What's going on? Not much. My usual reply came automatically. Scratch that. Plenty. How much time have you got? All you need. Shoot. That's Larry for you. Always there when you need him, even when he's not there. I told him about Abner and the loony things that had been happening. He didn't doubt a word. That's Larry for you. I don't know why we needed a repeat of that, but okay. And how do you know he didn't doubt a word? You're a ranting little kid talking to another ranting little kid. If somebody told me that a ghost helped them do their homework, even at 8 years old, I would be skeptical of this. So what do you think? I asked. I think you'd better be careful. This guy sounds nuts. Maybe you should consider another line of work, or tell your parents or some shit. You're forgetting this is Centerville, and that I'm 12 years old. There are child labor laws, you know. This was a thing you'd be concerned about at 12? I didn't give a flying shit about such a thing when I was 12. I went around taking people's trash out for a quarter. I even, asked to clean up somebody's house if they would pay me. You could try babysitting. That cracked us both up. The one and only time I babysat, 2 years ago, was for the Jenkins boys. These kids, ages 3 and 5, nearly tore their house apart and were gunning for me next. I had quickly phoned Larry to bail me out. He came over right away and got the boys involved in a video while I cleaned up. By the time Miss Jenkins got home from the dentist, the kids were napping in front of the TV. She was so pleased that Larry and I both got paid. In fact, Miss Jenkins gave me a glowing reference for my newspaper job. Okay, first of all, a second boy in the house isn't going to earn jack or shit just because he's there, and you're not aware that he did anything to help take care of your kids. I mean, it's nice of her to give him some money, but he wasn't the one doing the job, so I don't know why he got paid. I heard Mom come upstairs from the laundry room, and I knew this conversation was costing a heap of change. It made me long for the days when we could talk every day for free. Hey, Lar, I gotta go. Thanks for listening. We'll speak again soon, okay? Yeah, sure. I'm glad you called. Just remember what I said and keep me posted. I put the receiver back on the wall and walked to my room. Talking to Larry helped me a lot, but I still had to deal with Abner. You're probably thinking that I should have just told my parents or something. Yes, in fact, I mentioned this, once? Just a few minutes ago. But I really hated letting them know how much I'd been neglecting my schoolwork. Oh, boo-hoo! There's a freaky stalker adult man, chasing your son to school and visiting him on his way home from school. But my main concern here is my parents might get upset about my grades. Fuck that bullshit. There's a weirdo stalking you. Go tell your parents and call the cops. You got bigger problems than your fucking grades right now. And telling any grown-up that someone is magically doing my assignments for me, almost like some madman, would probably land me in a psychiatrist's office. Or you could just leave that shit out and be like, hey, I saw him at school. He was looking at me. I came home today and he was waiting on me and spoke to me. And he's really fucking creepy, guys. And he says his name is Abner Hilks. Please go do something about this weird-ass asshole. Thank you. I know it's a kid's book, but please, for the love of God, when you are running a child's story, do so realistically. If something is wrong, give us a actual good reason why this child would not tell an adult. No, I had to handle this thing alone. Yeah, and then probably end up as a missing kid on a piece of paper attached to a telephone pole to never be seen or heard from again because you're fucking dead. Mom's voice rang out. Michael, Kara's here to see you. I just realized he didn't say anything about actually going into his house. So as far as I know, he's still been standing outside Kara's bedroom window, but somehow magicking himself to the laundry room so he could, not the laundry room, but to a phone so he could make a call. I heard a groan. It came from me. I'll be right down. Now, what does she want? I don't know, you're breathing heavily and look distressed, so probably there to be like, hey, friend, what's wrong? Kara, it turned out, was doing a paper on the supernatural. And yet she comes to you for help? What the fuck do you know? Are you an expert in haunted houses or some shit? The kid actually wanted me to take her to the house that she heard was haunted. 'Cause she couldn't go herself or ask her parents to take her? Did she even ask her parents to take her? Her parents probably in that case would say no, just to be honest. She'd even written down the address. Let's see. Where'd I put that slip of paper? Oh, here it is, right in my pocket. 200 Main Street. Would you be able to take me there this weekend? She was looking... Why didn't she tell you this, when she first saw you? That would have been a great segue. To been like, hey, I need to do a thing, and you take me to this guy's place that's been harassing you that I don't know about? And that would have been a better way to do it, I think. She was looking at me like I was her big brother or something. I kind of always wondered what it'd be like, but Kara was probably the last person I'd want to be related to. I was about to tell her that Silverhill doesn't have a haunted house, that 200 Main Street had been checked for ghosts years ago, and it's presently occupied. Then I had an idea. Kara could be the witness I needed. She could see some of the stunts Abner pulled and back up whatever I said about him. Okay, the answer is no. 2 kids might see something and say it's paranormal. An adult would be like, well, I see a correlation in your story, but you're kids, so the haunted bit is a bunch of bullshit, but seems like you're being harassed by a dude. We should call the cops and have that investigated. Again, why not just tell the parents and be like, hey, Mom, there's this guy, I'm not really sure how he's doing it, but he keeps popping up everywhere I am and harassing me. Maybe get him run out of town. Whoever thinks that TV shows aren't educational is wrong. Go fuck yourself. Just wanted to say that. Okay, I said, how about on Sunday around 11 o'clock? Kara's face lit up. You mean it? Oh, thanks a lot. She ran out of the house. Okay, before I could change my mind, I guess. Wait, you're not sure she ran out of your house after you confirmed this and made a date and a time? You're not sure about this. You guessed this. As I walked back to my room, I wondered if I was doing the right thing. What if Abner really went bonkers? If anything happened to Kara, it would actually be my fault. Yes, it would. On the other hand, she asked me to take her there. Sometimes you just have to take risks in life. No, you fucking don't. And you're a fucking asshole. Another thought occurred to me. If I knew Kara, by Sunday she'll be expert on the supernatural. Shouldn't she be an expert on the supernatural? Information on the subject could prove interesting, because Abner Hiltz couldn't possibly be an ordinary human being. Regular people didn't look like him, talk like him, or act like him. He was in a category completely unknown to me, but the more I knew, the better I could understand him. As a rule, I'm not big on snooping, but it seemed only fair. After all, the guy knew as much about me. The guy knew so much about me. I decided to take Larry's advice, at least part of it. I still wanted to deliver newspapers, only not to Abner. Solution: ask my boss, Miss Smith, to give 200 in Maine to someone else. Clever, right? You could have done this to the start. I don't know why it took you so long to figure this part out, but you are a kid, so yeah. But Miss Smith had no record of an Abner Hiltz in her computer files. In fact, she couldn't find any subscriber listed at that address. Isn't 200 that deserted old place the last one on the block? Isn't 200 that deserted old place the last one on the block? Yep, that's it, all right. Must be some sort of error. Sorry. I hung up the phone before she could ask me anything else. Somehow, though, I wasn't all that surprised. And again, this is an adult you talk to and say, hey, I have my paper right here that has this address on it, and there's been this weirdo harassing me. Somehow, though, I wasn't all that surprised. It felt great to go on my rounds the next morning and not have to worry about seeing Abner, because you're just going to brush off that you got to deliver a newspaper to him because there's no record of him at the newspaper. But school was a different story. In math, the 10 examples I had handed in were returned. My paper was ever free. By now, this wasn't a great shock. When Miss Reynolds wrote a problem on the chalkboard and asked me to come up, solve it, and explain the procedure I was using, I couldn't tell if she suddenly considered me a model student who could now coach the class, or if she was suspicious about whether it was really my work she had seen. I got up from my chair and walked slowly to the board. I wished I were somewhere else, but I picked up the chalk, cleared my throat, and decided to go with an old yet reliable ploy, the coughing fit. Would you like to get some water, Michael? I didn't dare look at Miss Reynolds and couldn't tell from her voice if my act was convincing. In any case, I nodded and dashed from the room, while someone else was chosen to replace me. After that life-threatening tension, which wasn't life-threatening, the cool, quiet hallway was a relief. I figured that as long as I was out here, I might as well get a drink. I walked toward the nearest fountain, wishing, as I always did, that it was filled with cold orange juice. Because you really, really like orange juice, I guess. As I bent over and turned the knob, I heard the unmistakable voice of Abner Hiltz. Looks like you could use a little help in there. I turned around fast. What are you doing here? She'll call on you again, you know. Miss Reynolds knows you were stalling, and all 3 of us are aware that you can't do the work. Get away from me. I tried to sound threatening, but failed miserably. I should think you'd want me to stay and help. It's either that or get embarrassed in front of your classmates. Not to mention letting your teacher think that you let others do your work for you. But I didn't know. I heard footsteps and stopped talking. Miss Reynolds stood in the classroom doorway. Everything okay, Michael? I could have asked her for a pass to see the school nurse, only I was too upset to pull off any more trickery. Instead, I told her I was fine and glumly went back to the classroom. But Abner wasn't finished with me yet. It was okay until we started the second chapter, and then I started getting pissed off because the character turned into an asshole And I'm not really sure why he had to turn into an asshole to keep the story going. Is it to show me that the character is frustrated or stressed, that he's annoyed and upset? We could have done much better with this. The typos, I'm not really all that concerned about. Really, that should have been better on the editor's part, because sometimes you just type and then you leave out a letter or something, and then you get awesome phrases like, I was mom, instead of it was mom. The sentence structure and the paragraph structure needs a little more work. Outside of that, I guess your kid could enjoy this. I'm not really entertained by this first story, though I guess I could keep reading it. I mean, there's really nothing that stops me from doing so, and I could probably finish this in about 30 minutes or something, and then start on the second story, which is Scary Harry. But if you ever happen to see Fright Time, or you're able to pick it up, and you got some time to kill, you can waste it with these. They're nothing, like, extraordinary. I would say, in comparison to Goosebumps, audience might be slightly older, though, considering, what I've read so far and what I remember of Goosebumps. So, keep that in mind, too, that if you're getting this for your 8-year-old, it might be a little more scary than if you was getting this for your 12-year-old. Outside of that, though, I don't even know if a 12-year-old would find this story interesting, to be fair. I mean, I was reading, like, Hardy Boys and stuff by the time I was that age, by the time I was in middle school. So, I don't know. But, there you go. There's that. So, I will see you later. I still don't know how I'm formatting these. I don't know if I'll cover the other 2 stories, or if I'll just move on to the next book in the series. But I'll figure something out. So, I'm Caleb, and this has been Red Knot. Thank you for listening. Bye!